it's a third live talk actually today, and it's organized by Floating Eka Cultural Foundation. And we conduct lively discussions with the artists, culture managers, and change makers, and that inspire us at Floating Eka, and we hope that will inspire you to create projects, to run projects, or support projects, etc. To stay tuned. So it's a monthly event. Every month we have another artist or another company joining us for this live talk. And to stay up to date, please follow Floating Eka. We are patiently reminding you about another events coming up. And to do so, just go to Floating Eka. You need to push 3 dots thingy and then like, and maybe even adjust your follow settings to make it favorites. Just a little hint. The live talks are running for 45 minutes, so it's not too long. Please stay tuned. There are lots of exciting topics that we've prepared for you. And also, the cool thing about these live talks is that we have a live chat where we can chat with you. So please ask questions, leave comments, ask Abigail and Emma anything you want. Today is the day. And please share your thoughts, ideas, emotions, and feelings. We're all ears for you. Alrighty. So, Abigail, Emma, finally giving the word to you. Please, could you jump in and maybe introduce yourself in a few words?
Yes, so my name is Emma, and I'm a circus artist, and I work as an artist in Acting for Climate. I've been part of Acting for Climate since 2018 now, and I was doing a lot of politics when I grew up, and then I was also doing circus at the same time, and then at some point I was invited to come work with Acting for Climate as well, to combine these two, art and environmentalism. So that was my way into it, basically. Like finally finding a group of people that actually wants to use their art and skills for something related to environmentalism. And I'm from Norway. Right now we're in Denmark creating a performance. Been Corona stuck here since January, but from Norway originally.
Cool, thanks.
Yeah, and I'm Abigail. I'm also a circus artist. Been doing a lot of theater and dance also. And I'm one of the co-founders of Acting for Climate. So I've been in the project from the start. And yeah, what more did you say, Emma? Yeah, I mean, I'm Norwegian. Here, I ran after Emma when I figured out she wasn't going to come back to Norway. Yeah, now we're here creating a performance. That's really cool, even though there's Corona.
Perfect. Thank you so much. Well, one more thing that I know about you, that you're also a sailor. That's something that unites us. But yeah, and that's something that I was wondering if we could start with. As I understand, the project Acting for Climate itself started from combining arts and sailing or something related to it. Could you please maybe say a few words about how the project actually started? What was the initial idea?
Well, the initial idea was that I wanted to combine my three passions, which is environmentalism, performing arts, and sailing. So the idea was to sail around the world performing performances about environmentalism and climate change and sustainability. So that's kind of where the idea kind of sprang out from, and then it's been adjusted and developed with other people over the years. And we kind of started having these workshops where we gathered artists that were interested in doing environmentalism. So yeah,
right.
It's been mainly work on how to combine environmentalism and arts, performing arts.
So is it correct that like basically the project kind of started with these ideas, but first things that you were doing were workshops, just exploring?
Yeah.
Together.
So we started with this idea that we wanted to make a company and the performance that could tour with the sailboat, but we were like very we were kind of young and very new in the whole thing, and we didn't really know where to start. So we thought, well, we need more people and we need more ideas. So let's start having these workshops where we share our ideas and we get other people's ideas. And together we kind of work out both how to do it and also find more people who's interested in working like that. Because before, like when we started the whole concept in 2014, it was not so much talked about in the performing arts scene. So it wasn't something that we could say like, oh yeah, they have done this and we could do follow up on that thread kind of. Especially especially not in circus. There's not been a lot working on environmentalism before. So it was really trying to grab hold onto what we found already and find some new ways and pathways.
And also kind of working, I mean, I got into Acting for Climate from attending one of these workshops, and that was like I was invited with this beautiful picture from a workshop in 2017, I think. But anyway, from being invited into this kind of like open source discussion where everybody would come with their knowledge and skills, and we would share and give workshops for each other and explore like how can we actually create art based on this topic, and with the intention of like whatever we give in, everybody can use. Or like if we develop something together, you can use it in your performance wherever, or you can use it in writing your poetry, whatnot. But that's like it's more about this trying to create something that can actually create a bigger impact in the world than like, okay, this is my idea and I'm gonna keep it for me. So yeah, that gives a lot of drive, at least for me also. It's just wanting to share and
there's also a way to that you can work like interdisciplinary, so that you don't need to do the same kind of thing to be able to work together, because you can create a lot of different performances from one idea kind of.
Yeah, so I'm showing just a few pictures of some of your workshops, like of various workshops, and most of them are happening in nature, right? So
they're all happening in nature. Actually, yeah, they're all. We have had one workshop during winter time where we were just one day out in nature because it was very cold. But it's a big part of the workshops, to actually connect to nature and to roll around in the grass and to explore in the forest or by the sea or
also coming from a bit maybe from this idea that like to climate change and the nature crisis is a problem with how we relate to the world and to each other. And to really act from a value of care, we need to know to know what we care about, and to know something and care about it, you need to actually feel it. So to really be in the forest and look at a tree crown, or explore that, or be at the sea and feel the like water hitting your face, to really like
open your senses, like all of them,
also, and explore from that and get to know nature.
Like more sensory kind of. Interesting. And talking about the group, talking about the interdisciplinarity, is that so? How much interdisciplinary are the members? And as I understand, they're coming from different countries. Could you please tell a bit more about it, like about the group that kind of builds Acting for Climate?
So, I mean, we have a core crew of the company that is 7 artists, and right now that's mainly physical artists. And then there's been other people that have been involved in before, and there are a lot of more people that are involved in the performances and in the broader network. And in the workshops also a mix of artists. Mostly they're performers, like physical performers. There has been some other people also, but I mean, in one of our performances, there are the 2 of us that are circus performers, and then a street dancer and an opera singer, for instance, was developed with a dancer and a physical actor also, based on climate psychology. And in Into the Water, it was physical theater and circus and music, live composition, and it's a lot based around physicality, but building on scientific research often, and implementing other disciplines. Or trying to, at least, find some sort of balance.
Right. Talking of which, this is another exciting kind of, I would say, I don't know, zone of your activity, that you have been involving scientists and researchers, I guess from the very beginning. And that would be interesting to hear, like, what was your path of kind of how you started? What was the first idea when you decided, okay, we need researchers, we need scientists to work on it? And what is your experience of interacting, working with them?
Well, I think we started by these workshops and developed kind of all our methods through those workshops also. And one of the things was that we wanted to know more, and we wanted to have a deeper understanding of what we wanted to talk about. So we found it necessary to invite people with knowledge into the workshops to come and hold seminars for all the artists who were there. And so that's been kind of the the way we hold the workshops when we have longer workshops. Then we also have some shorter versions of our workshops when it's only us doing our methods. But when we have these longer 7 days, 5 days artist workshops, we invite scientists or people who are specialists on different issues to come and talk, so that we can deepen our understanding. And this is a picture from a workshop 2 years ago, where Karen O'Brien, who we have a very close collaboration with, and actually are collaborating with on this project that we're working on now, which is BARC. Yeah, she's talking about quantum social change and climate change. So that's very interesting.
So this picture, for instance, is she's also collaborating with another artist that's like illustrating this different spheres of how you can create change in a society, and then it goes into this earth eye, and it's like, yeah.
She's called Tone Bjørkdam, and that is a Norwegian artist who works very close with her.
Yeah, but I think it's also the thing that, like, as if I'm creating a performance and I feel like I need help with scenography, I would contact the scenographer. And in the same way, like if I want to create something on water cycles, I would like to talk with somebody who actually knows something about water cycles. Even though I could do it myself, then often people are very happy to contribute and help out. And that's also like I can all the support and positive input and impact that we've had from like collaborating with scientists has been really important. Like, all good energy and knowledge.
Yeah, and when we started, we also had this thing of why would they want to come and talk to us? But then when we asked, we just got positive feedback, and if people are not the right persons themselves, they always forward us to someone else. And say that these persons are working with that will be really good for you. And so we have actually met a lot of people through that we dare to ask and be like, hey, we're looking for this. So I would really would recommend anyone who is working on something to dare to ask, because most people are really happy to help and happy to be a part of something else.
Absolutely, fully support. And it feels like there is a lot of lean now in the art projects to kind of be open to this interdisciplinarity, and it's really super important. Our project also, when we were starting, it was a lot connected with water, and they were scientists that kind of reached out to us when we just like posted some things about the project, the ideas, and they were like, okay, let's collaborate, because it feels like it's benefiting them as well. Like they're also getting some unusual look at their work. Okay.
Yeah, and I also think they see the value in transmitting information through art, because normally scientists they do this very important research, and then often it doesn't go out to enough people. And so of course finding new ways of informing people on, and art is just also connected to feelings and to emotions, which gives another way in with information, which I think is very important. So it's for me it feels like both artists want to do more things with scientists, but there's a lot of scientists that really see the value in collaborating with artists.
Oh, I hope there's more happening in this direction.
Yeah.
All right, but getting back to water and splashes of water, I would like to come to, okay. Here we are. Well, that's improvisation, just so you know, everyone. So we go into the water. Could you please, so there was a project, for those who do not know, in 2019, Acting for Climate collaborated with Hawila project, which is a sailing project, sailing for sustainability, basically, in a few words. They're sailing between harbors and conduct workshops and raise awareness about climate change and sustainability problems. And Acting for Climate was collaborating with them, and there was a project Into the Water. Could you please tell us how it started and yeah, just a bit about the experience that you had?
Yeah, I can go. Yes. So, I mean, Acting for Climate was started with this idea of creating climate art performance that would sail the world. And then we were some other people on the projects, and we said maybe we start on a bit smaller scale, like a Nordic tour, for instance. And Abby had good connections with Hawila from before, and they were very interested in collaborating. And we gathered this group of people and wanted to create something on water and cycles, and a festival called the Havnefest for Klima, so harbor festival for the climate, in connection to it. So basically we created this performance on board the ships where we were climbing around in the rig and up the masts and performing on deck, and building on climate psychology. And then we in each harbor organized these festivals in collaboration with Hawila. And then we toured in Norway and Denmark and Germany by sail. So really trying like to see how we could work sustainable in all the ways, like both how we toured, we had big discussions of like the food we bought, or everything in life, like trying to live collectively and create collectively and leave a minimal impact in the world when it comes to CO2, but a bigger impact when it comes to social change. Yeah.
And Into the Water was also the first big performance project we did. Before that, we have done some smaller performance projects with Acting for Climate, but this was really the huge one. And as Emma said, the start was that we wanted, idea was to sail around the world, but then we kind of shortened it down, made it smaller, but then it became bigger because we collaborated with Hawila and we made this huge festival in every place also. So we kind of scaled it down and then scaled it up again. And,
yeah.
And also it's, I think that Into the Water is kind of the biggest project, but also the biggest statement of what is the statement of or the goal of Acting for Climate, which is to inspire people to act for a more sustainable world through performances, right, and workshops, which we did for this whole tour.
Yeah. So. Yeah. It's a beautiful project. I really wish that something like this will repeat, and I believe that something like this is coming sometime soon. Is that correct?
Yeah. In 2022, we're going to sail the Baltic Sea towards Finland and St. Petersburg and in Estonia and probably Denmark and Sweden as well.
Yeah.
The new performance on ship.
Yeah. Maybe we'll talk about it later in more details if we have time. But I wanted just to point out that it's a really, I think it's a cool curve of starting with a big idea, then scaling down to a bit smaller and more focused. And then the magic happens and it can grow almost to the initial vision. That's
bigger.
What's that? Sorry? What's
bigger.
That? Bigger.
I would say bigger.
Of course. More than a dream. But it that really resonates for me, because that what was happening to Flotieka in the beginning. It was like this large idea of, sailing around maybe on a few platforms at the same time, and going through the Europe to Balkan from north of France and stuff. But now, like, also with pandemic, it got scaled down. But I think now it's kind of growing to bigger ideas. That's interesting to see this curve happening in other projects as well.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Big network also, it seems.
Exactly. Right. There's one thing that I forgot to say a bit earlier, but never too late. There is one question that we wanted to ask you guys who are watching us and have the interest in sustainability and maybe making your own projects. Project is a very kind of vague thing, and it can be very small. It can be your life, or it can be an art project on the street, or a cross-Atlantic sailing circus project. But the question is, what are the challenges that you face making an art project sustainable? So what are the challenges that you're facing or you're expecting on the way to make it sustainable? That was a question that we discussed together with Emma and Abigail, and we were wondering what you would think about it, and maybe we could discuss it. So please write your thoughts or answer or question on this question. So maybe we could have a dialogue with you. That's a sweet thing about the live thing. So yeah, we have still quite a lot of time. Please write, and maybe in the end we can discuss it. So stay tuned for the discussion. And we'll move on. So I have one section here to discuss, which I call a prosaic section, but so much important for any project. And this is about the kind of organizational and administrative ingredient, which is important to any project, even though they can be very beautiful, poetic, and artistic. We always have this kind of thing. We all need funding to make projects, and we need to organize things. I was wondering, how is it working in your group? Like, is there anyone has some responsibilities on this, or you have specifically dedicated people? And maybe what are the challenges that you're facing in this regard?
So does that mean that I'm gonna start?
So,
so we have a core crew that is kind of works like a board in other organizations, which are like the artists that are most involved, and we all help out on different things. Then within that core crew, we have a board that is more in charge of doing the day-to-day, like the more boring work. And then we also have a producer who's amazing and who's helping us out a lot. And it will actually be on maternity leave from June to December. So we're looking for a new person, if there's anybody out there. Yeah, so kind of how we did in the beginning was that everybody did everything, because we were working in a flat structure, and we wanted to try out how that would be. Like, everybody would write applications and everybody would be creative, and we would all have an overview over this and that. And that was actually quite exhausting. So now we have more divided responsibility. For instance, I'm writing a lot of applications often, and Abby is making a lot of phone calls. Because those are things that we are good at, and it's nice to have the freedom to do your own task within the area somehow. Yeah. And then we get we get very tired from doing this admin work sometimes, because we are physical artists, most of us, and rather want to jump around and do stupid things. So important things, yes. But not still sitting things. So it's constant struggle of finding this balance between, for instance, like, okay, how much funding do we need to pay the people that work with Acting for Climate enough that it's like sustainable, because we also don't want to dump the art market, and we want to pay the wages that artists should actually have. And but then on the other hand, it means that we need to be less artists because we need to do more administrative work. And within the company, we come from different backgrounds and different. I mean, I'm born to a lot of privilege, and that means for me, I can be floating around and get little salary and live on some couch somewhere. And for other people, it's other situations. And still, we have the responsibility together to find the balance between letting go of your passion of just creating to do this administrative work, but at the same time doing it in a way that's inclusive for more people. That was a long rant. Maybe now you talk a bit.
It was very good. Yeah, but I think really this balance is one of the biggest challenges we have in a company, because we're basically mainly artists, and we're not educated to do this admin work. So I mean, it's in general in Acting for Climate we do a lot. We learn by doing, but I mean the administrative part is really a bigger challenge. But we all figured out that we can do some things, and we can do it in smaller amounts, and that's fine. But having this constant thing that you have to, actually we could have worked with it whole day, and that's just not what we want, and it's not what we should be doing, because we're actually creative artists that and we're also most of us doing disciplines both in circus and dance and music, where we actually need to rehearse to keep up the level that we want to have and to develop. So that needs to be the main focus. And this is the hard balance to do when you want to run a project and you know that the deadline is in 2 weeks and you need to make it work. Yeah. But we were very happy since a year we have had this producer, and we would really like to continue having some producers on board. I think that makes a huge difference for our company and for us.
Yeah. And then on a more practical level, as based in the Nordic, we get a lot of Nordic funding and art funding. And then also for starting up into the water and the company, it was really important for us to get the Erasmus Plus funding actually. So if you're within the area of Erasmus Plus, you can get a lot of money from there. It's a lot of bureaucracy, which is not so cool, but it's a great startup funding for a creative project, for any project, I guess.
Well, thanks for this ingredient of practicality. That might be useful actually. So that's mainly the grant funding is the main kind of source of financial support for you, right?
Yeah, and then of course for performances and gigs,
we were gonna make a new strategy, or we made a new strategy just before Corona, where we were gonna work more on. We have this workshop, and we wanted to make, or we have been developing company workshop that we could do for whatever company actually, like a team building, but also environmentalism workshop, creative workshop. And then we had been selling our performances, Kime, for example, a lot more. So that was kind of the funding plan for 2020. And then Corona came and we couldn't do any of it. So we had to go back to our old strategy of applying.
Yeah, but it was also with this intention of being more independent from the funding bodies.
Yeah. It seems like this is, it seems to us at least at Floating Eka that this is kind of the future for art projects, really to think about kind of collaborating with businesses or doing some sort of social entrepreneurship or something, or it seems like having a few sources of funding is the most sustainable way of running a project. So I really hope that the situation comes back to normal and you can proceed with your strategy. We actually have quite a lot of answers in there's some discussion about one. So let's get to them now, because I don't want to miss. Okay, let's dive in. So Nathan Biggs Penton, someone who you might know, wrote, "Great question. When deadlines create pressure that can negatively impact sustainable functions." This is the answer to the question, what kind of art obstacles, challenges in making your art project sustainable?
So maybe to add on, Nathan has started our a branch of Acting for Climate over in America, so another continent. So that's really cool that we're kind of broadening us out. We started in Europe and now we have a department over there. the Montreal department, we call it.
So the question was, when deadline approach, it can be difficult for sustainable choices, or what was the question?
Well, it's kind of a question. So it's an answer to our question. So we had a question about what are the challenges for making a sustainable project. And Nathan said that when deadlines create pressure that can negatively impact sustainable functions.
Yeah.
So I guess he's touching on another important, thank you, Nathan. Another important thing that I wanted to talk with you about is personal sustainability. And as I understand, that's one of the things that you care a lot about. Maybe as soon as we're here, maybe we should talk about it. So that's something that I guess Abigail was concerned a lot about. Maybe you could elaborate. What is it about?
Yeah. Very important to put on some safety then. I mean, personal sustainability and security and safety always comes first, because all project builds on the people who's in. So if we don't take care of each other, the project doesn't exist. And I think for us also, we've gone through this, especially during like the process of developing into the water. There was a lot of we had this big goal of inspiring people and to make a huge change, and then sometimes we went a bit too harsh on us as a group, and then we got tired, and maybe the sustainability for each one of us wasn't really integrated into it. So I think we learned a lot also from there, that if you work for a bigger goal, you need to remember yourself also on the way. Yeah. And for example, now we have a challenge with some people we're making a performance now where we have 2 artists who has got some injuries, and then of course that is the first, it's more important to take care of them and their injuries, and then kind of the group and the art has to come follow that, because you can't do more than what each one of us are able to do.
I think it's also the thing that being a freelancing artist is already not a luxury life to live, and being a climate activist is also hard mentally, because there is always things you can do. You can always do more. You can always work harder, and change can happen with every action you do. And then just to kind of learn that, or to figure out yes, it's great if you can do a lot, and still you should just do so much that you feel content and safe in yourself, that it's not to give room also to give some slack sometimes.
To have fun. It's very important to remember to have fun on the way, even though you're working with really heavy subjects and times are challenging, to really try to focus on what can we do to have fun. To make the small things better. And I think also Nathan talks this thing of when a deadline approaches, of course you need to maybe let go of some of the ease, because you need, if you want things to happen, you need this thing to be done. But then to not to lose yourself in it still, even though you're doing it. I mean, we had in the start, when we did applications, we had several weeks where we were several deadlines, and then we were sitting up all night working on we were all in school when we wrote the applications for Into the Water. So we kind of were in school in the daytime, and then we worked in the nighttime. And after doing that a couple of rounds, we were like, we're not going to do this again. I mean, it's cool for one time, it's okay, but then doing it several times, you just say no, you can't. We also need to take care of ourselves in the long run.
Right. So. Yeah. Okay, moving on to the next one. Anastasia Koshkina wrote, I guess that she's answering to my introduction to the question when I mentioned different types of projects, but she's writing, but having your own project sustainable is something different from creating ecologically friendly and sustainable project, no?
Yeah, I mean, for sure, you can kind of differentiate it, but we have more and more come to the terms that actually you can't, also because making a sustainable project is also living. I mean, for us, it's a lot about living what you preach. So if you're doing something that is very unsustainable and make for you as persons, or for you as a group, or for you as artists or whatever, then and then you're making a very beautiful performance or art installation that is about sustainability. Of course, it's possible to do it, but I don't see that as a part of the future. I want the future to be something where we can be a part of it in a sustainable way, and the art can be a part of it in a sustainable way.
Yeah, and also in the sense of like that everything is political. Like if you involve just men in your projects, then you're actually supporting some structures in society that are not sustainable. Or like now, for instance, we're have started to dig into language, and there's this trend of using ki and kin as pronouns of living nature instead of it. Like you're talking about the tree, and you actually give it the pronouns and some agency, and then implementing that in your language is also making the process sustainable. Or like really like thinking like how can we change the way we live, because it will also influence the art or our Zen as artists or not, like or humans.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Beautiful. Thank you. There's another one from Lucy Power, and she's saying, Robank Environmental Arts and Education would love to chat more to you about creating climate-themed theater and circus based in natural environments. We're so inspired by what you all do. Thank you for sharing your art with us.
Ooh.
Thank you back.
Thank you.
Let's
You also have a cool project.
Yeah.
I know. I've seen you on social media.
Okay. Are all your projects focused on ecology agenda? That's Anastasia's question. Also, Anastasia, of course, you know.
So far, but different aspects of it. Like now, for instance, Bark is more about nature, and of course, nature is a element of climate change also, but it's more about reconnecting to nature and creating from a like biocentric perspective, or being out in nature and not about climate change. Is this and
but then we have several projects that are really based, or most of our projects are based on some kind of scientific research or then climate psychology, but we take different parts. So into the water, we researched a lot of water, but also climate psychology. And then for this performance now, it's a lot about social change, but with the aspect of being in nature. So yeah, I think yes is the answer, but we take it from different angles.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. And thank you, Anastasia, for the question. There's Alice who's saying, it would be really great if you could come to visit the company where I work in a German theater. I think we need to spread this everywhere and maybe create a net all over the world to start to collaborate. I think it's a win-win.
Let's create a net. Network.
Fantastic. Yes, I think, I mean, there's one more question, but I think that please, if you have more thoughts coming in, just comment and we can continue the dialogue, and girls will jump into the chat, and yeah, maybe we will post your email or anything so you can start conversations.
Definitely.
Yeah. Fantastic. Okay, so Isabella Grace saying, to the earlier question, I think the most daunting thing to make projects like this sustainable is finding space to grow and sprawl, especially with groups. What do you think about it? Yeah.
I think, yeah, I also like, for me, relating also to the earlier question of Nathan, is like sustainability for me is having the time to do the choices that I know are right, because otherwise I go against my values and I feel this inner conflict. And that's also really hard when doing this kind of projects, to really like to know that everything is urgent, because I need to act now, and still to do it like with a calmness or give some space. Yeah, it's also I think like some of the things that we try to do to give some space within the companies, for instance, doing this check-in rounds where everybody has space to talk, or to, now we're trying out to have more loose schedules, for instance, so that people can have more time to create freely, or just go and out in the forest or do what you need for yourself. Yeah. But it's a constant path. I don't think we have the answer to that.
No, but definitely space in different terms. And I mean, I think one of my big revelations was when we started doing these workshops, and I felt like I had the space to talk about environmentalism and arts with other people, and the other people also, people in the workshops also felt the same, that finally they found a space.
Right.
And then also, I mean, we have been in a lot of different physical spaces,
Mm.
like we're collaborating a lot with Bergsmyrene, which is a farm, a biodynamic farm in Norway, where there's like we get the space to be there, and they're kind of allowing us to just go crazy on the fields and do weird stuff. And some of the pictures earlier was from us doing acrobatics in the middle of the field, but and then we work with them, dig in the soil, feel the soil, and we get vegetables in return for working out on the farm. And yeah, I mean, this thing of also getting the space physically, like now that we have this collaboration here where we are in Dynamo workspace, we get the space here to be and to create, and it makes a big difference to
Right.
get both like mental space, creative space, and space just to talk and to discuss issues that are important, both when it comes to environmentalism but also sustainability in every layer, which then includes oppression and structures that we're a part of in this world that needs to be shifted.
Yeah. Thank you. Wow. These are really, I think that we touched on, in this very short time, we had the chance to touch on some very important and deep kind of aspects of, of making, creating art projects and running them, and also taking care of yourself. We're almost getting to the end, and I wanted to say one more question to the outroduction. After the outroduction. Oh, shush. So before the alligators come to me, I will just say that I'm super, super thankful for you to coming here and sharing all your knowledge and passion and inspiration. And I hope this inspiration got through live through the kind of nets of universal web to some of you who are watching. And it was, really great pleasure and lots of kind of insights for me too, personally. I hope for others as well. And I wanted to say again about Floating Eco Lives that it's a monthly event, and that we do that once in a month. We meet with some inspiring, creative and fun people, and sometimes also alligators. And we talk about how to start a project, what are the challenges and exciting things about doing it, why to do that, and about different aspects of it. Every time new topics, new challenging questions, and we invite you to join us on this trip. And to do that, please follow Floating Eka for the updates. There are instructions in the comments. We will be happy to meet you again. And before we go, one last question. Could you please tell us about your dream vision of a project?
Yes. I've written a whole page about what our dreams are, but I'm gonna say some short things. Well, one of our, one is that we want to create this network all over the world, where we can connect people, artists, and scientists. And we have been talking a lot about making a database, and I know there's several databases already kind of working out. So I guess it's also just about connecting to them. But for sure, we still want our company kind of to grow, and our dream situation would be to have like a team of producers who can work on only that administrative part, so that we can really just focus on the creative aspects of our work. And then to have a sailboat touring around the world, doing performances, having a base on a farm, where we create as artists and have like on a daily basis train together and create, so that we have a common ground, and where we get people coming in, both researchers and artists, to get inspired and to come with their knowledge. and that we could have a workshop team that can go around and do workshops both on different locations, but also on different, like what is layers of society. So both on with business people and maybe people who doesn't really think so much about environmentalism, but that are important about team building in their company, or in different places. Try to like really get into digging our fingers and our ideas of being creative with environmentalism, different places. Yeah, have collaborators all over the world in every continent. That would be a dream.
Yeah. My dream vision, I think, would be that climate change would not be an issue and I could do other things like pet an alligator. But until then, I'm rather content and happy about connecting artists and trying to create art on environmentalism. And hopefully, sail around the world with the performance. Yeah. Hopefully meet up with you live someday.
Yes, right? After all this time. Thank you so much. I really hope that we can sail together one day and collaborate and create fantastic, crazy projects, not only about climate change, because no climate change will be happening then. Let's do that. And
Yay!
thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming here. And thank you everyone who was there listening to us. We hope that there is some inspiration that dropped like magical drops all over. And please keep talking to us. I see there are more comments coming in, but unfortunately the time is up, but we're still in contact and girls will come to the chat and let's talk, let's discuss, and let's bring the change. Thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks everyone. Bye-bye and see you next time.